Welcome everyone to the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. I'm your host, Michael Pickering. That's right, Lo-Fi as in low fidelity, low quality, in your face, messy as can be global news show. Here we're going to talk about that famous question. What's going on in the world today? It's Wednesday and time for that Lo-Fi global news, fresh off that press. Coming at us from the world news of the Associated Press. Myanmar charges Suu Kyi, giving legal basis to detain her. Well, what a surprise! And here we thought that the military just took over the country because they didn't like democracy. But oh no, they got their reasons. And they got their legal basis for arresting Aung San Suu Kyi. And what exactly is it that they charged her with? What heinous crime did she commit that warranted the arrest of her and the overthrow of the country by the military? Well, she's being charged with having possession of 2 illegally imported walkie-talkies. Oh, thank goodness, Myanmar military. You just put all the world's hearts at ease by letting us know how much of a criminal a person is by having a walkie-talkie. We'll update you more as we find out, Lo-Fi Nation. Walkie-talkies, please. Next up, source, the tech section of the BBC. Bebo chief reveals plan to take on Facebook and Twitter. Well, now, the only thing that could have made this more interesting of a headline is if they would have mentioned MySpace. Oh, I miss you, MySpace. Anyway, the story. Bebo's a social networking site from back in the day, and the creator has sold it and bought it back a couple of times from different places, AOL and Amazon Twitch. But now, they want to do something different. They want to focus on not news feeds or other things so common to Facebook and Twitter, but rather real-time interaction with your friends and contacts. Now, the details are still few and far between, and I don't blame them. If they leak them out, Facebook and Twitter will simply incorporate them into their own platforms. But I'll be interested to see, can a new social media site really break into the market? What do you think? Hit me up. Now, moving forward because we never move on from anything. Source, the world of Reuters. Seized guns destined for Colombian rebels in Venezuela. Sources. Now, if you're thinking this story is talking about the FARC, in fact, it is not. Remember, the FARC is working to reincorporate its members back into society in Colombia and form a new political party to take part in Colombian politics legally. The group we're talking about here is the National Liberation Army, also known as the ELN. Now, this group has been around for quite some time, though not nearly as visible as the FARC. But the major issue here is that the guns seized in Colombia were headed towards Venezuela, where it's thought that major elements of the ELN and one of their major leaders are taking refuge. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this is a major sticking point between Colombia and Venezuela as far as their diplomatic relations go. And Venezuela generally denies fostering Colombian rebels. And Colombia? Well, you guessed it. They ain't buying that story. We'll follow this story moving forward and let you know what we hear. And our following story comes from the AP News World, an update to a previous conversation of ours. Iran. Sailors from seized South Korean tanker to be released. All right, so I'll go ahead and tell you this article is filled with lots of speculation, which we ain't talking about here. But if you're interested in that kind of thing, give it a read. The major points in the story and the updates. So Iran seized this South Korean ship on the grounds that it was polluting the sea. South Korean company and owner, of course, deny this. Iran took into custody the ship, the captain, and 20 sailors. Those 20 sailors are being released, though we're not sure exactly when. However, the press release by Iran said nothing about whether the captain is being released or being officially charged. We'll simply have to wait and see. But South Korea, for their part, well, they are not happy about all of this at all, though they are happy that most of their people are being released. Again, the article goes into a lot of speculation, so if you're into Iran-South Korean relations, check it out. And a last piece of news to send you on your way for the day, the BBC Tech section. China bans children from using mobile phones at school. Now, this story made it into the cast today because it raises an interesting question, and not just for China, but for all the world, as we move more and more into the digital age. The question, is it really good for us to go digital at such a young age, and while in school? Now, the Chinese government has previously claimed that mobile phone use and gaming at such young ages is directly related to large increases in nearsightedness in children that they have seen over time. I haven't myself looked at the data, so I don't know. They also say that it's a distraction for children while in school, and it can lead to internet addiction at an early age. Again, I don't know. I don't teach young children, and I haven't looked at that kind of data before. What I do know is that I've watched over the years the introduction of cell phones into societies and schools across the world. And in that time, it started as, well, only drug dealers and gang members use them, so if you're caught at school, you're expelled. And yes, I'm serious. And yes, that was back in the day. Then over time, it just went to being suspended. Then it just went to detention. Then it was just, don't use them in class. And now, teachers, some of the ones I know, though I'm not sure how widespread it is, use it as a reward. If you're good in class, kids, if you do your assignment, you get 15 minutes of cell time after the assignment. The point is that over the past 25 years or so, how we view the use of cell phones in school has evolved quite a bit. And how we use them in our daily lives has evolved quite a bit. And it seems the evolution has been guided by a sense of, well, this is inevitable, and there's nothing we can do about it, so just let it be. China here, though, is taking a stand. They are saying this may be inevitable, but perhaps it's still important for us to ask a very simple question. Is that inevitability good for us? A thought-provoking question indeed. Write in, Lo-Fi Nation. I'm curious your thoughts. And it's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode of Lo-Fi Global News. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, wash those hands, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. Pickering, signing off.